Hey, Eric,
Yes, sir.
you want to play a game?
All right, I'm down.
It's called $25,000 Pyramid. I got a secret category, and based on the hints that I give you, you got to guess what the secret category is.
All right. I like a good challenge. I think I can do this.
All right, here we go.
Yep, I'm ready.
Your health in the last week. Your GP60M project.
Dude, I got it. Things that are sick. What do I win?
Not a darn thing.
What? Ain't that a family show? But you did say GP60M. And we did say things that are sick. What do we mean by that? Let's talk about it. Coming up next on the War Bonds channel. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another video podcast here on the War Bonds channel. If you don't know me and you're unfamiliar with this channel, my name is Eric. I'm a locomotive engineer for U.S. Class 1 Railroad by profession, an avid model railroader, and just a lifelong rail enthusiast. Well, in the opening monologue, things that are sick. Yes, I actually have been battling a cold in the last week. It's getting a lot better. I'm feeling better. Didn't slow me down too much, but nonetheless, I had to struggle through it. And also, been having physical therapy because of a pinched nerve in my back, pinched nerve in my neck, and oh yeah, this middle-aged dude is falling apart. But you know what? We're not stopping. We're not slowing down. We're still here to stay. However, in the last week, besides muscling through being sick, I actually got some more stuff done on the GP60M project. Oh my goodness. This is probably some of the most exciting stuff. And even though you guys have had to wait for quite a while for me to start making videos and proceeding on the progress of the project again, it's hopefully going to be worth the wait, because the things that I am bringing to you today, I hope you will find very exciting. Making some mega progress on this project, and I am very excited. You know, I think that at this point in the project, it's like a movie that starts out kind of slow, and it's like, well, yeah, there's enough there to keep your interest, but okay, when's this going to get good? And it does take a while for things to get good sometimes, but we are getting to the action-packed section of the series here. Things are really starting to take off. This thing is actually going to really start looking like a locomotive, or I should say, it's going to really start looking like a Santa Fe GP60M locomotive. I am so excited to be able to share with you what's been happening with this. And even though this is a video podcast and I do plenty of talking in my intros, I'm just too excited to wait for too long, but we're just going to take you right into it. So the footage that I have done has been over the last week, in which I have really taken a dive and just said, let's go for it and get some things done that I wasn't expecting to have done this past week, but you probably weren't expecting to see either. So let's see what we got.
So as I said earlier,
I'm not feeling the greatest right now. My ears are kind of plugged and my nose is kind of plugged, scratchy throat and everything. But, you know, I just feel like I can't sit down right now. And as long as I got some energy, the Monster Irish Cream drink I had earlier is kind of giving me a caffeine boost. So I'm actually out here ready to rock and roll. And I figure whatever I can get done today is more than I would get done just sitting around. So we're going to try to hammer this out as best as we can. Now, we have the frame here. So back earlier in the series, I showed you how I fabricated some walkway tread for the locomotive. Now, unfortunately, when I finished video 23 of the maiden run and I said that I was going to take a break for a while because I wanted to just have time to play around with the locomotive and enjoy it, I had a couple of unfortunate incidents where the locomotive rolled in the back of the car. Now, thankfully, because of the state that it's in, it didn't do a lot of damage, but based on the state that the locomotive is in, the only real damage that happened was some of my walkway tread, believe it or not, actually got creases and dents in it. So I have been looking at that for the last several months and trying to decide, what do I do with it? Do I live with it or do I pull it off? And finally, the other day, I decided, let's just go ahead and pull it off. However, when pulling it off, I found a few surprises. Okay, so if we look at the frame here, obviously I had used a spray adhesive to put the walkway tread down. And I pulled up some primer, which is no big deal. But one of the places that I was a little concerned is that I was actually starting to take on rust underneath it. Now, the whole idea was that if we prime it, that I was going to hopefully stop it from rusting, but apparently that wasn't the case here. So I'm actually going to take some time to sand it down. Now, yesterday I did a little bit of sanding on the rear anti-climber here. Oh, actually, oops, that's the front. This is the front of the locomotive. So on the front anti-climber here, but also, now you can't really see it too well, but you can see some remnants of where I had done some sanding probably a few weeks ago, because when the batteries were sitting here, apparently there was a little bit of leakage, and when I actually pulled them off the frame, there was rust. So I actually took a sanding block and kind of sanded that away, but since the whole thing is going to get sanded down, we're just going to go ahead and take care of all of that all at once. Now, the jury is still out as to whether or not I'm going to go back and reinstall walkway tread, but I know the way I think, and it's a pain in the butt. It's a very fragile piece of equipment to put on the locomotive. However, if I don't put it on there, yeah, I'm gonna probably regret it later. So I still have some time to think about it. But the other thing too is that on the corners here, I actually had to fill in a little notch that's actually not supposed to be there, but it was a notch that ended up happening because of the way we ended up designing the frame. So on all four corners, I have notches here, but I took some JB Weld steel stick. It's like a putty, so I went ahead and filled the rear section there, and then put a piece of brass plating there. So that's all part of what we're going to take care of with the frame. Now, I'll also remove the couplers and probably do a little sanding on the end sheets there. Then hopefully, as long as I still got some stamina, we'll go ahead and reprime it. We're going to take out the couplers because
it is going to be a lot easier just to paint the couplers separately. Now, I started this process a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, the paint had things sealed up pretty darn good, so I had to kind of work at it a little bit to get everything to break loose. All right, and we've got the coupler out here. All right, and coupler number 2 is out, so I'll actually prime these separately and give them a coat of brown paint since we want to make them look fairly new anyway. I've got all the journals, and each of the journals, well, 4 of them anyway, have the struts on them, and a 5th one actually has a washer that represents the base of the speed recorder on the locomotive, and then the other 3 are just plain, and I'll have axle extensions on those to show like the bearing caps. So yeah, I got the primer here, and we're going to get started actually priming some truck parts here. Anyway, we're going to start with these first, and then and as far as the primer goes, and then we'll get those primed, and then guess what? Just like the fuel tank, we're going to spray some silver. Okay, so I'm gonna take the drill here, and as you can see here, I've got the hole for the door handle for the front of the cab. So I'm just gonna take a drill to enlarge the hole that I had previously drilled into this piece before I cut it down to make the door. Take it nice and easy here. All right, so now taking the door handle here, let's just see. Okay. Yep. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the number boards. Now, the way they were originally designed is that there was a backing piece that is actually supposed to screw into this in order to be able to put them in and then screw them in so that it's easier to secure them and take them out. But I just decided I'm not going to go that route. I'm just going to go ahead and glue them in, but I'm not going to slop the glue in there so heavily that it's next to impossible to get them out, even if, I have to someday, which, heaven forbid, this thing will not have to come out unless years and years down the road, and hopefully I'm still around to see that day that I need to repaint the locomotive and maybe some of these parts are kind of worn out and do need to be replaced. It won't be that hard to pop them out. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a dab here. I'm just actually going to maybe put a drop in each corner here. Okay. Now, of course, it's not going to go in as easily as hoping. Oh, there we go. All right. And then we'll do the same for the second one here. So we'll just do the 6-corner technique here. There, and there. All right, and that one went in a lot easier. I knew there was one of these that just didn't test fitting in the past that didn't want to go in very easily, but this one actually went in fairly well. So at this point, maybe call me getting a little bit lazy, but I am actually going to go ahead and use the Gorilla Super Glue in order to put the door jamb on here. Now, let's see here. This is not wanting to go on as well as I want it. Come on. And as much as I would love to run up to the tracks and see what's coming through town, I have glue on my hands, but that's all right. Okay. There we go. Now, one of the things that I started to do earlier is I started to put the door handle on the front. And all of a sudden, I realized, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I cannot do that until such time as the locomotive is completely painted because I have to put the cigar band nose logo on there. There is no way in the world that I'm wanting to do all the intricate and delicate cutting that I would have to do in order for the decal to lay around that door handle. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And about the time I thought about it is when the glue was actually starting to take hold. So thank God I actually got it out before it took hold, and then I'd have to destroy the part by drilling it out. But so what I ended up doing is realizing that this was actually all going to fit together and this hole was actually big enough. I went ahead and just put the door handle onto the door jamb. I'm actually going to re-glue the door jamb on, but with the door handle this time. All right. I like that. Yes, indeedy. Now also, in the frame, because some of these parts were made after the original fabrication, I actually had to go in and drill some holes in the corners there for more handrails. So that was one, and we got a second one there. We got a third one. And a fourth. So at this point, I think that I have just about everything done that I want to do, especially on the frame. I think there are things on the cab that are pretty much done. And at this point, I think I'm ready to reprime. I got one thing to say. Oh, this is getting real. This is getting real. 2026, and this project started right around COVID time of 2020. This is getting real. There's red paint on this thing. This is absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, I thought it was great to have my kids running it when it made its maiden voyage on its own power. Oh my goodness, this is actually getting real. You know, so many times when I've been at the club and I was running other people's equipment, I mean, that's great and that's wonderful. It's all part of the fun, getting to share with other people. I've had other people who've gotten an opportunity to run the locomotive. I've spoken with other people whom I've invited out to the club for when this thing is done, that, hey, you get an opportunity to run this. And there's been times I've run other people's equipment and I'm sitting there looking at the perspective of sitting on the ride car and seeing the locomotive in front of me. But you know what was really surreal is the first time that I actually saw this locomotive from that perspective. And I'm thinking, that vision, that dream is real. Now it's got red on the deck. This is getting even more real.
Well, for a guy who's still kind of sick, raspy voice, plugged ears, and everything, I'm still keeping on with the keep on. And this is really exciting. I just can't thank you guys enough. I mean, what, 3,850 some of you who are subscribed to my channel and have been keeping me company, have been very supportive, especially those of you who are gracious enough to leave me comments, or even those of you who send me text messages that, hey, I watched your video, it's great. You know, it's very encouraging. And I tell you what, these recent videos are really encouraging to me, that for a guy that started off not knowing what he's doing, I'm getting somewhere, and this thing is becoming more and more real every day with every new step that I take. And I'm so excited that you guys are sharing that with me. I used to say, if I had a GP60M, wow, what would I do? What would I think? You know, how much fun would that be? And well, I guess I have a much better chance of completing a GP60M than I do winning the lottery. But it's great that it's gotten this far, and I'm so excited, like I said, to be able to share this with you guys, and we're going to keep on keeping on. But if you enjoy this content, I just really appreciate it if you'd hit that like and subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, we're going to keep on keeping on. And in the words of the late, great Walter Cronkite, and that's the way it is. And in my words, keep the shiny side up. Until next week. Notice I said next week. I've got it in the works already. Stay tuned. Have a nice day, everyone. Thanks for watching.